Hello and welcome to the Abandoned Beers podcast. It's the only podcast that matches your favorite bands with our favorite beers. My name is Pat Zapp, and if you're hearing this, I'm already dead. To my wife, I leave herpes. She knows about it, it's fine. And to my Taylor Swift albums, I leave them to nobody because that's who appreciated her as much as me. But I couldn't be doing this without my two best buddies in the whole wide world. Unfortunately, I have to read the obituary for this guy. He was a lot of things: a journalist, an author, a patriot, a professional troublemaker, a complex walking monument to misbehavior. So many drugs, so much booze, so much raw talent, it was hard to tell his fiction from nonfiction. He receives exactly one vote for vice president at the 1978 Democratic Convention. No, not Hunter S. Thompson. It's Dan McHenry. Dan, say hi to the people.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? And I think I got 2 votes that year. I'll
And
debate that.
We're here also with our other buddy. He's an ancient 16th century medieval tyrant and sorcerer. He was poisoned, shot, stabbed, hung, stretched, disemboweled, drawn, and quartered. He is known around the world as the scourge of Carpathia, the sorrow of Moldavia, the cruel, the despised, the unholy, Vigo, it's Dusty Swartz.
Hey everyone, suffocate me all you need. I won't breathe, but it's okay.
We are Abandoned Beers, and we're here to make you drink beer and think about death and feel sad and stuff. And we are just about ready to get rocking and rolling and cracking and drinking. Boys, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, boys, welcome to my house. We're recording at my house today, and just, want to make it a little extra special for you guys. I got you some really nice orange vanilla seltzers to help cleanse that palate. I hope we really enjoy and taste these beers today to get the accurate beer to win.
I wouldn't drink this if you paid me.
It's Pat. It's water.
Disgusting. It's not water just because you throw a picture of a bear
Look at
on
the
it.
nutrition facts. It's all zeros. That means it's water.
Let me look at it.
This is Polar brand seltzer.
Contains no juice. Off to a good start.
Mm-hmm. See? Strike one for water. Or plus one for water, rather.
Carbonated water and natural flavors. I see you have a glass of regular drinking water. Isn't that convenient?
Yeah, my dishwasher doesn't work very well, guys. I don't want to subject you to my gross family cups.
Dan, could you please get us out of this bit and tell us what we're doing here today?
All right, today we're going to be picking a band, and each of us is going to talk about how great the band is or how much we like them, dislike them, and we're going to each choose a beer that we think best represents the band. This could be any you got to defend your reason for the beer that you chose, but we want you to pick. We're all picking beers that we think best represent the band. We're going to do a taste test of the beer, and at the end of the show, we're going to vote to pick what we think is the best beer that represents that particular band that we chose for the week. And for this week, it was my turn to pick a band. And I chose a band that I've been infatuated with since college. When I was in my college dorm room, huddled in the corner, scared of girls, and feeling sorry about myself, I was listening to Armor for Sleep. And I think you guys both enjoyed Armor for Sleep around that same period of time as well, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely was into those first 2 albums a lot. I lost track of them by the time that third album came around. But those first 2, Dream to Make Believe and that Car Underwater one, definitely got a lot of spins in my earpods.
And Pat, how about you?
This was a high school band for me. It was sold as a band you could fall asleep listening to their music, which I was very interested at the time. And that endorsement rang true.
Oh, I think this is one of the most aptly named bands in all of existence, because it's exactly right. You can fall asleep to this band.
I will agree to disagree somewhat, but we can talk about that more in a little bit. I also like to point out that I am a couple years older than Pat and Dusty, so when Pat says it's a high school band for him, it was a college band for me, so same time period. So
Yeah.
I didn't want Pat to act like he found them before me, so that's me, my ego coming through on that one. So,
I'm very young.
yes,
Everybody says it.
there you go. Yeah,
I lotion a lot, so I don't think people can know my age.
I have to lotion more.
Yeah, that has to be true.
I think
Yeah.
about it all the time. I was like,
I
"Ugh,
just need
didn't
to
lotion."
keep my
I
hair
use
and
on my neck.
have my kids not age me any more than I already look. So, Armor for Sleep was my pick this week. So I get first choice of beer today. So let's talk about the beer that I chose. As Pat kind of pointed out a little bit earlier, Armor for Sleep is a little bit of it can be a monotonic, little slow type band.
Is monotonic a word?
I think it is.
It sounds like tonic.
One tonic.
Yeah.
It's one tone.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like it's a word, Pat.
Thank you.
Monotonal.
Remember,
is
I went
how it's also
Monotonal.
pronounced.
Well,
I went to school for this stuff, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
I know
right.
what I'm talking about. Anyway, I Armor for Sleep is from New Jersey.
They are.
I thought about the different metals that go into making armor.
oh, look
I
at you.
don't
getting
know
deep.
if this specific metal is used in armor at all, but I know it is a metal according to my periodic table that I have somewhere.
Sounds like this might be a coin kind of beer.
Yes. So I went for a New Jersey brewery, and I went because Armor for Sleep is just kind of they're just there. They're kind of like there's someone that's just in the crowd. They're just there. Nothing really stands out from them in
That's
particular.
fair.
So
That is fair.
let me grab my beer here.
There it is.
So this is Double Nickel Brewery. It's in Pensacola, New Jersey, and they have a beer that is just called IPA.
I think
It's
that's
just an IPA.
Dan, I have to agree with this pick here. I think this is pretty dead on for you.
Double nickel, of course, standing for the 5-5.
I took a tour of their brewery once during one of those brew tours that one of my buddies used to run. It was a pretty cool setup. It
Oh, yeah?
was like one of the first breweries I went to where they had like a whole bunch of games set up on the table, and you got everybody can just come and hang out with their friends and family. So, description of the beer: it is packed with some of our favorite hops. The nose and finish of this beer are dominated by notes of grapefruit, pine, and lemon. The late hop additions make it dangerously drinkable. It is 8% alcohol and an 88 IBU. And this was part of their Coors series. I was able to get a 15-pack variety pack of beers from them.
Oh.
So I chose the IPA. Majority of the Coors series of beers are just Pilsner, IPA. And I'm an IPA guy, so
Yeah. Do you know about how long Double Nickel's been around? Like, when did you go see that brewery?
that was probably about maybe 10 years ago, something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah, that
8
sounds
to 10
about
years ago. So I think they were relatively new at that point.
Yeah,
So
that sounds about right. if,
Yeah.
my recollection is
I'm pretty happy with this because I've been seeing this brand Double Nickel around. They got some pretty good shelf space going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
and haven't been bold enough to venture into it. So this is my first dive in, and really enjoyable. Lights up the whole mouth.
Yeah.
I got a little scared at first when I was reading the description of there being a grapefruit after I had gone citrus in my last two beers and hated them. So, but then when I saw at the end description, the late hop additions make it dangerously drinkable. That's when I was sold.
I tell you what, it's hard to find a beer without some fruit in it.
Yeah, well,
These
those-
beers, they're loaded with fruit nowadays.
it's definitely fruit notes, and I don't think that's actually brewed with fruit. This one, I think it's just like you're getting the fruit off of those hops.
The flowers. Are,
Yeah, exactly.
causing
And,
the
like,
thing that.
Especially grapefruit. I like those beers a lot, like the grapefruit sculpin. I like a lot but an actual grapefruit, I think tastes like dirt. But I like it in beer. It gives that nice like kind of bitterness on the tongue.
I'm one of these basic bitches that like coffee, that tastes like coffee, and I like my beer,
Tasted
tastes
like
like
beer. Yeah.
and I like my America free. That's just the kind of guy I am.
There you go. And I like my emo bands emo, kind of like Armor for Sleep.
Wow, this is
Oh, are we doing this already?
Thank you.
Because they're not
Well,
What?
let me
I feel
let
like
me
they are.
let me get my
Did
intro
you hear the
going.
lyric I said? To start the
Let me get
podcast?
my Wikipedia description going. So, we got Armor for Sleep is an American rock band from New Jersey. Their current lineup, which is their original lineup, it's always been the same lineup.
Stay
so
together,
I didn't
yeah.
have
Good
to, yeah,
for
I
them.
didn't have to come up with a list of different band members. So, lead vocalist and guitarist and main songwriter is Ben Jorgensen. Lead guitarist is PJ DeCiccio. You might have to help me pronounce that if I mispronounce that Italian name. DeCicco.
DeCiccio.
There you go. Then bassist is Anthony Delono or Diano. I couldn't tell if it was an I or an L.
Both are acceptable.
Yes, thank you. And the drummer is Nash Breen. So 4 members are all together. They currently have a touring member who plays drums for them. So my guess is Nash Breen no longer goes out on tour with them when they tour. So
He probably has a full-time job at this point. Anyway,
but he
so.
still is a part of the recording process whenever they are recording an album or
That's
writing
cool.
music. So the genres that are listed on Wikipedia. First one, alternative rock.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Second one is my wheelhouse, emo.
Yeah.
Third, pop punk. I don't get a lot of pop out of them.
I'm not getting any pop out of this.
I get punk vibes,
Yeah.
and some of the grooves they're catchy.
But
Some of the
I
songs are
feel
catchy.
like if you're gonna be pop
Yeah.
punk, there's gonna be
There's elements of it. In
yeah,
there.
there's gonna be a little bit more sugar to your lyrics.
It is lacking a certain sugar.
Yeah.
you're right.
Thank you. Post hardcore, which kind of I think of Thursday when I hear post hardcore.
Who is it?
So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That is
I mean, there's no screaming though, so that kind of anytime I hear hardcore, I want someone to be screaming.
Well, they're
So-
post all that.
Yeah. All right. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think of post-hardcore. I'm getting a lot of sounds. Like,
Yeah.
wow, 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 wow.
That's also known as music, dude. You just described music.
Then we've got indie rock. Anybody who plays rock after the year 2000 is pretty much indie rock.
I think they're an indie band.
Yeah.
Are they signed to a major label?
I'll get into that later, but they were initially signed to Equal Vision Records, which is
An indie.
yeah, an indie. They made it on the one major label, and it did not go well for them, as we see that a lot with a lot of our favorite bands. Is
Yeah.
when they make the leap to the major label, that's when things can go south. So, last description: dream pop. I don't know what dream pop is.
Did they make it up just for Armor for Sleep?
I guess because of the sleeping thing. I guess
Dream rock.
when I hear dream pop, like I'm thinking like Pink. I don't know, like some kind of pop artist.
Is it music that's supposed to put you to sleep? Is there a whole genre of that music?
Well, I think it's about elements of fantasy and make believe in a dream state or a dream world. Got a dream vibe
Yeah,
going.
you got to dream to make believe sometimes. What kind of dreams do you have when you're listening to Armor for Sleep? Did you write down any of your dreams when you were using them to fall
My
asleep?
dream journal?
Yes.
Well, I do that mostly to have like those dreams where you can control it. What's that called? You guys remember that name? Whatever. But
No.
I'm pretty much just so I can fly. That's my
Okay.
whole reason. For
Lucid
writing.
dreaming. You would
Lucid dream.
lucid dream.
That's it. Yeah.
Pat, you remember any of your dreams
No.
listening to Armor for
I
Sleep?
did just have a conversation about morning wood today. You know how
Would Armor for Sleep have given you morning wood?
the world works in that everybody experiences morning at a different time.
Yes.
So everybody experiences morning wood. So across the nation, as the sun rises, a wave of morning boners
So we're all saluting.
comes
sun.
across the world.
There you go.
It's sort of like a bunch of flowers saluting the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're reaching out, getting our energy for the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. No, I don't dream. Dreams are for children. I wake up to the cruel existence of life every day, and that's enough for me. But yeah, no. The listening to Armor for Sleep while sleeping. This was the early 2000s,
Yes.
Yeah, 2003.
mid
that first
2000s
album.
potentially, and so it was still a CD player connected with a cord to headphones. So it was a lot of just like waking up and there being electronics in your bed and chords and a crunch And those are my memories.
Like you wake up, you're flailing, and you end up knocking the CD player on the ground.
Right, and the
I'm just,
CD
like,
pops
afraid
out,
I'm
then you're
gonna-
just
Yeah.
hoping it doesn't scratch.
I'm just hoping I'm not like choking myself to death with the headphone wire.
That's what your
That's
parents
gonna be gonna get in
said,
my
but
dreams. Honestly.
never happened.
Yeah.
That's why you can't wear capes to bed, kids.
I say wear a cape. If you wake up dead, you were weak to begin with.
There you go. You weren't meant to be a superhero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Good way to think about that.
I think you knocked it out of the park, Danny. This is good.
This is
Thank you.
good. I think it's right on the head for like
It's-
the type
yeah.
IPA named IPA. It's sort of right on the head.
I'll
Yeah.
admit it took me a couple of beer stores to find Double Nickel. My go-to is Total Wine in Delaware. I didn't have a chance to go this week.
It could
I had
use
seen it down there.
It could use a dream element to the
Yes.
beer, but
I
might be,
I'm waiting to see if there was another beer. I can talk about it later, but there was a beer that caught my eye that was related to the sleep portion and the dream portion. But I
Right.
said, that's not my kind of beer. I didn't want to tie it to the band name. I just kept coming back to nickel, and wonder if nickel is nickel used in order to make armor. What is nickel used to make? I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't
I'm
say.
gonna have to dream about it and figure it
Yeah.
out tomorrow, I guess.
It's a very malleable metal. so
Nickels
it
maybe.
has to be only
Nic-
like blended.
Our
into other
nickel's
things.
made with nickel. That's interesting.
Right.
All right, but
Not anymore.
This is for our other podcast, useless information.
Yeah.
We'll touch base on that later on. So, but yeah, double nickel IPA. There's no creative name to it whatsoever. It's an IPA, and I think that's the way. Well, granted, all right, Armor for Sleep has a creative name, but musically, they're there.
Yep.
They play good music. You're not going to be blown away by them. You're not going to. It's not. They were a band that I learned about them. Me personally, I learned about them firsthand from Tristan Thomas, our buddy from high school. Freshman year of college, he always knew about music before I did. So
Yeah, he was on top of his stuff.
he'd be sending the latest and greatest bands that he was finding out about in Rhode Island. He was sending my way via AOL Instant Messenger.
Yep.
And then I'd be downloading the songs illegally. So
Yeah, he was deep in the scene. He was
Yeah.
hanging out with a future singer of some hardcore bands we
That's
like.
right.
He was with it.
So as soon as he told me about Armor for Sleep, they didn't even have a full length album out yet. They just had a demo, so I was able to download those songs legally, illegally, whatever. So I got to hear Dream to Make Believe, the unpolished version of it that didn't ultimately end up on the album, and I was infatuated by the song. It was just amazing.
It's one of the favorite reasons that I like the re-release of that second album because they have all the demos on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Mark Barron talks about this. Mark Barron, one of the original Podfathers. You got to have a guy. He had a guy at the record store that just turned him on to a bunch of great music. If you don't have that guy, you never find this band. So
Yeah.
if you guys didn't have
was one
Tristan
of my
and I didn't
guys.
have you guys, I would have never came across this.
And vice
Yeah.
versa. I think you guys turned me on to some cool bands like All Time Low. You guys were on
Yeah,
top
that was
of
a Pad
them
Zap band for me.
extremely early,
Yeah.
and were telling me about them.
I can only lay claim to two bands, and that is one of them.
There you go.
Them and the Morning Light.
Yeah,
Those
once
are my
we get
bands.
into them, we'll tell the greatest driving to a concert story of all time.
Yes, we will. We'll touch base on that in our next segment. I think we'll take a break now, and then we'll come back with Pat Zapp's beer.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So you guys know me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I get these bands.
Pat Zap.
I start thinking about these beers, and Armor for Sleep, man. They jumped out at me right away, and I said to myself, Armor for Sleep's a hazy IPA. There's no doubt about it, no doubt in my mind. But I had to run down the rows of what a hazy IPA is, and a lot of these breweries are out here hazing up their beers with grapefruit and stone fruit and orange. And we just had a bunch of that. So I wanted to go another direction. And I'm looking, and where did I have to go? Our boys from Armor for Sleep were on the East Coast. But they got a West Coast sound. So I went with a West Coast brewery doing an East Coast New England style IPA. And I came up with Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing.
Oh,
One
let's
for
try
you.
it out. Great little
And
colors on this beer.
one for you. And one for me. So if you're new to the beer game, even if you're new to the beer game, you know Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada's been bought it for a long time.
I'd say they're like one of the old school like craft beers.
That's for sure.
Breweries. Like I always remember seeing the light green and the yellow background on their label. I've been a fan of Sierra Nevada for a while.
Yeah.
And Hazy Little Thing IPA is also an amazing beer. Without even drinking it right now, I've drank it plenty of times. So, very good pick.
And one of the great things about this, it's exactly what I was looking for in a hazy IPA. But this brewery is constantly looking for new IPAs. They're looking for bold hop flavor. And this beer, the brewers thought it was good to just decide to serve it straight from the tanks. It's unfiltered, it's unprocessed, it's raw. Just like my boys' Armor for Sleep.
Ooh.
So the result is this hazy beer with a modest bitterness and an intense hop character. Because I think Armor for Sleep is hop. Whatever we're characterizing these bands are, the notes that they have, I think this band has just got hops coming out of their ears. And to some, making an intense hop bomb may seem crazy, but to us, it's just a little hazy thing called IPA.
Very good description from Sierra Nevada. I'm also reading on the can that it says family owned, operated, and argued over. I love a brewery that has a good sense of humor. So
Yeah, a little bit of something else there. Yeah, so it was their pale ale. I think you were thinking of that Sierra Nevada.
yes,
Yeah,
I think that is the traditional Sierra
Like
Nevada or the
flagship
original.
beer. Yeah,
I
at least
also
the most popular.
around Christmas, I enjoy Sierra Nevada Celebration as well.
Right. And
Really
before Stone Cold had his own brand of beer, he was a Sierra Nevada Torpedo IPA.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he drinking that like while he was wrestling, or that was?
This was
usually-
post wrestling, but he was
Okay.
just like, God damn, I'm on this podcast talking about my favorite beers, and it's down here from Sierra Nevada, the Double Torpedoes. Some people say, hey, Steve, this beer tastes like shit. And I say to them, hey, dude, you ain't got to be like that. Maybe you're just not a beer drinker. Maybe you're more into light beer, but this is a hoppy, tasteless beer. Give me a hell yeah. Stone Cold's the best, you guys.
Oh, I love
He might be coming back. It's great.
Yeah, if only we did a band that we could do that, like, Broken Skull Ranch beer.
Yeah.
Like what kind of band would deserve of such a thing?
We'll
That
find
one that goes dun 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 woo woo.
Have you had his Broken Skull?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen it anywhere.
Oh, the Frontier Saloon used to
Okay,
That's right. Yeah.
have it all the time, and it's starting to
Folsom,
show up more and more
Pennsylvania.
places.
Yeah, I think you gave it to me once. I think I've only had it once, and it was probably from you.
Yeah, it checks out.
yeah. The Frontier Saloon was my original craft beer dispensary. That was the place to go to get a 6-pack that wasn't Miller Lite or
Yeah, that's right.
PBR
yeah.
or what have you. So,
Yeah.
I went there first.
yeah.
It came up empty.
Oh,
Yeah, I like this beer though. It's for a hazy IPA, it's not like giving that like huge mouthfeel. It actually hits kind of clean. Has some I like the bubbles in it. I think it's like nice on the tongue, like a good mouthfeel there.
So I guess hazy is to describe the color of the beer.
Yeah.
Instead of a bold, crisp color, you get more of a
That's when you get a lot of that fruits and that kind of shit.
that which creates the
Yeah.
more hazy
Yeah,
nature
exactly, yeah.
of the thing. So
and we're drinking these beers straight out of the can, so we don't necessarily always see the color, or
Right.
what kind of
As
haziness or
The
darkness. or
brewer
what have you.
intended
Yeah, that's right.
directly from
Yeah.
the can.
if it would
Plus, we don't have time to wait for it to settle. When we pour
if it was
out.
up to me, we would never say mouthfeel on the show ever again. It's just a bad combination of words for me. I know that's what the beer advocates, use as a template for rating these things.
Yeah.
But to get back on topic, for me, the dreamy, sleepy, underworld, death, ghosts nature of Armor for Sleep, for me, is that hazy nature. The songs are sort of vibey, but it creates sort of a wavy, sort of unnatural, unreal dream realm. So for me, Armor for Sleep had to be a hazy beer, had to have couldn't be light, couldn't be fruity, had to be more something that you take serious, something that's maybe a little depressing, maybe a little bit in the feels, but still with energy and life and can rock. These guys rock.
Yeah.
Straight up and down rock.
And that's a great description of the band. Armor for Sleep came into my life at a time when I was, I was the prototypical emo kid, feeling sorry for myself, being scared of girls, and they hit the spot. That's what I needed. I needed something to relate to, and I think they were one of the perfect bands to kind of get me through that little awkward stage in my life where I could say, hey, these guys are in the same place as I am. They're getting through it. I can get through it too and enjoy this great music.
I've never been emo. Been terrified of women my entire life, but never emo.
Yeah, no, I was both emo and terrified of women. I'm still terrified of women, including my wife.
What about you?
I went through phases. Maybe I have at least one I'm afraid of now.
I've been more. You were never emo.
I think Dusty went for the fashion part of it. Didn't have a fear of girls.
Oh, I always just thought he was poor, and that dictated his fashion.
Yeah, I mean, like
that's
I got
part of the
into
culture as well. Yeah.
shopping at thrift stores. I mean, that was definitely something that's right up our.
And now he just looks poor on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
mean,
would
like
love.
once you reach a level of success, you have to start looking poor. It's the thing to do.
Yeah, I would still shop at Goodwill if I was allowed to, but my other half has banned me from Goodwill. So
That's where
I love a good shirt that's broken in. I have an awkward body shape, so I want someone who, like an older person who broke in a button-down shirt or a T-shirt, fits my contours perfectly.
got a couple hundred washes in it.
That's right.
That shirt is what it is.
It
It's not going
is.
to shrink.
It's got character.
There's a great scent to it too.
I just spent $500 on a new suit for a wedding I'm going to, and if it were up to me, I would just have a Barney Stinson style closet, just suit it and boot it, head to toe.
There you go.
That's my dream.
You should be wearing a
that shit
suit at
tailored,
work every
bro?
day. Yeah.
Is that you getting it tailored?
You know, dude, I buy off the rack, dude.
Oh,
These design I could model.
Wow, amazing. So, Armor for Sleep, they put out a couple albums.
Not a couple is pretty accurate.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think this one it's about a couple.
4 total albums. So this is one of our smallest output bands that we've covered so far. First off, like I said, around 2003 is when I first heard about them. They put out the album Dream to Make Believe, which has pretty much every song on that album is amazing. Dream to Make Believe, like the song, is one of my all-time favorite songs. I've covered that song in my quote unquote emo band, Grandy. We used to cover this song. I loved the shit out of the song. I'd be all over the place.
That's an interesting one
running
to
all over.
cover because like his voice is very monotonic, so you'd have to be singing it in a very specific way. That must
Yeah.
have been a kind of a challenge.
I wasn't singing.
I
I was
know,
doing
I
backup
know.
vocals, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the bass lines are pretty simple. I played bass, so it was I got to run around stage and be a crazy animal the whole time, and it was awesome. So that song, All Warm. Let's see what else. What do we got?
My town, for me, finding this band in my junior year, potentially senior year of high school, it really, it's just like right time, right place. When you're a kid who you can't drive yet, you don't have any money for things, like you find yourself like walking to your friend's house, you're alone with like these songs in your head, and like a song like My Town,
Yeah.
it just hit me right in the right spot, right in the right time.
I don't want to give up the ghosts of my beer description, but a lot of that, especially listening to this album and then hearing the kind of lyrics that they had, was like, I was like, oh, this is very much like I could identify with at the time very well.
Oh, right in that.
Because it's very conversational lyrics in a way. He's not like getting like too deep. I mean, like I think he is trying to like use some metaphors in there, but I think it's kind of on the level. He's not saying anything too complex.
Well, here's a song that really hit the spot for me, Being Your Walls. In particular, if if all I am is a distraction for you, then I can't complain that you can't feel something for me. I loved it
So, yeah, so he was saying it
because
very directly, is what I'm saying.
I
yeah.
was so afraid of girls and always wanted girls to like me, but I knew they probably didn't. But just hearing that line of, well, just the fact that I'm a distraction to you means that you're thinking about me. Like I love those lyrics that hit the spot for me.
Yeah, songs like Wanderers Guild and Frost and Front Steps
Yeah.
are really good at telling stories of places that like you could put yourself in, even if it wasn't the exact same situation. You could identify with the feelings that are going on. And if you're going to classify any band that talks about feelings and emotion as emo, then that's all music.
Yeah.
These boys do cross into the more whiny nature of emo. I won't deny that, but
Right up my alley.
Yeah, the song "Kind of Perfect" to me kind of makes me laugh now. Where it's just like, I just want to be something in your room, like in your VCR. I want to be your cassette, and it's just
Yeah.
like, all right, guys,
yeah, that was a little cringe.
it's very,
A little
it's a little,
awkward,
it's a little
yeah.
cute. It's cutesy.
Definitely, but it was right like I've said a million times. It's what I wanted to hear. It's what I related to at that time.
And I
so,
think that's 100% right.
yeah.
And then
And then in 2005, they released. This seems to be their album, the album that everybody loves. What to Do When You Are Dead. Dead. Sorry, I just wanted to say
You
dead
get a
like
little
that.
spooky.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're post Halloween, so it felt right. Amazing album.
amazing album.
They have gone out on tour for the 10th anniversary and the 15th anniversary of this album. So
And then they did the re-release for the 15 year.
exactly. So that's how prominent this album is to all of their fans. This is the quintessential Armor for Sleep album.
Was this the major record?
It was not. It was still on
Release?
Equal Vision Records.
And then this blew them up into the big
Correct.
time. Wow,
Yep.
incredible. Because Car Underwater
Yeah.
is the song I most identify with this band.
Yeah.
It is perfect storytelling for me. The perfect way to tell a story in a song, where you get information and then at the end it all becomes clear of what's actually going on. Love it. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's obvious, and it's not just us saying this. This is like probably their best album. They really, I think, came into their own. They're feeling their oats. They knew what they were doing with this one, and I like to see the progression from their first album to this one too. You can really see like how they were growing as a band. 2003 to 2005, releasing this one, like playing a lot together, being a lot together. You can really hear it in the music.
Definitely. And recording wise, I think they really were feeling their oats with the guitar effects. I don't remember which specific song it is, but there at one point there's like a transition from like an awkward.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It transitions to like a rainstorm, like you hear thunder, and then it goes into another part, and it's like, whoa!
Yeah.
They really put the effort in to make
Sonically,
that sound.
this album
great.
is off the charts. Yeah, it's off the charts.
Yeah.
Great. And as a weirdo, a person who thinks about things, all kinds of things that everybody thinks about, things that might not come across anyone's mind. These were the guys who were first talking about what it's like to be dead, what it would be like if you died, and then we're still able to explain it. What being a ghost would be like, what being, at the time for a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid, things that had never been really at the forefront, maybe movies, but never in music.
Yeah.
The one song that stands out to me, "Stay on the Ground." I wrote down the lyrics. I started feeling bad for myself today, but then I stopped because I don't care. And then he also, later on in the song, "I'm feeling bored of feeling numb." It's like, this was stuff that I needed to hear, that other people were feeling like that. And it's, not that I was ever, there were tinges of depression and what have you in life, but it was good to hear that somebody else was feeling exactly what I was feeling. And they were just like, I'm bored of feeling like that. I just go on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and on the flip side, as a very young, popular, handsome, intelligent, charismatic,
Go on.
humble
Mhm.
guy such as myself,
Oh.
Oh.
I could potentially see myself dying and coming back as a ghost and just living in the floorboards of the girl I had a crush on's house. Those did really like the basement ghost singing. Really was just like, yeah, I do that. That might be fun.
You know what? Well, I really like to think about a ghost would be like the Frighteners, that Michael J. Fox movie, where they're all like kind of fun and like to hang out with like one guy who can see them. That's like my dream ghost scenario.
I just love how like very personal I took all these songs, and then you're like, the best song is, being a ghost and just
That's a
living in
great
the
basement
floor.
ghost
Yeah,
singing is great.
and it is pretty.
It's a
cool.
great song.
I will agree with that. All right, so 2007, they make the move from Equal Vision Records to Warner Brothers. Let's see here. And the album is called Smile for Them.
Mm.
And this album was,
This is 2007.
it was 2007.
I couldn't believe it was 2007.
I was like kind of, I was like, so I don't think I had a lot of experience with this album before, like us like diving into Armor for Sleep.
I had not heard it before.
Really?
And I was like, here we go. I'm going to get some like new Armor for Sleep songs.
Yeah. I bought it when it came out. I was one of those guys. I lived at Best Buy on a weekly basis on Tuesdays whenever albums came out. I was buying at least one album. So, like, I had this date circled on my calendar. I was going to Best Buy to get the new Armor for Sleep album when it came out. So, it came out, and it was not as good as the previous two albums.
Yeah, like that song Williamsburg, which is I guess like they're like, the first release, like major release from that album. They made a video for it. I'm like, what are these guys get against Williamsburg? They're basically exactly like all those hipsters there, but they're just making fun of hipsters in this song.
And this
They-
came
they're
out
throwing a
before you
lot of
guys
shade.
were living in New York, too, right?
That's like about
Never,
1.5 years.
never gonna knock somebody taking shots at what a crappy place to live New York City is. So
And the Williamsburg neighborhood in particular.
yeah,
This was the first time I had heard of Williamsburg. And so, initially when I saw it on the album, I was like, why are they writing about Williamsburg in Virginia? And then I think I read like an alternative press like article about it or something and found out that it was about the neighborhood in Brooklyn. And I was like, oh, but you guys have I assume you've been in Williamsburg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Having
lived in
lived in New York.
Astoria because we were that cool. Astoria is the hip town now.
Yeah.
Williamsburg's like it's almost impossible to live there.
Williamsburg was the place when we were there, though.
That is
Yeah.
true. Like a lot of
Like
People
hipster
People
central.
were
traveling down there.
oh, they were freaking out over Brooklyn. They thought it was just the
all of our fun art school friends would come up and we'd have to go down to Williamsburg. and
once
take
they
them out.
moved out all the black people, they really loved it.
Well, like they had some like really interesting spots. They had that one spot with like all the sand on the ground, and if you bought a beer, you got a free pizza.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of like it's a personal pan,
Yeah.
mind you. And
but they'd give you a pizza every time you bought a beer.
Oh. I'd take it.
yeah, I mean it was a what was that called, like the Croc Rock or something like that.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of like hip spots, like so much brunch. It was like brunch city.
A lot of avocado toast.
I think this is way before
That
avocado
was before
toast,
avocado
bro.
toast. Okay, sorry.
I was only hitting up Cubanos. That was
Gotcha.
like my
Alright.
only brunch move.
I just loved the idea that you could get 3 drinks in one meal: water, coffee, and it was acceptable to have a beer.
There you go.
You a little too buzzed off the coffee,
Yeah.
you drink the beer to take the buzz off.
Yeah,
You a little
even
too
yourself
amped from
out.
the coffee, you drinking a little
There
water.
you go.
You're not-
Sober up from the water, you got a beer sitting right there.
You're
It's a
not feeling
perfect
great from
triad
the-
to try out.
You're not feeling great from the night before. You have everything you need to kind of level you out.
There you go.
I am bad at following bands. I like bands, even love bands.
Yeah.
And they'll put out a record and I'll be totally unaware.
I'm
of
on the same page.
So for this thing to be a release from 2007, smile for the camera about the news being fake, very real for today. Williamsburg being a hellhole, still true to this day. Somebody else's arms, just a lot of these songs end up with the guy killing the girl in the end. So it was very refreshing that they didn't go down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did take a little time off.
See,
So
the
I
rest of
think
the album,
And
I
then,
thought was like
and End of the World, listening it today is like, who told them they could be this relevant?
yeah, they were ahead of their time.
Totally.
have we been
their
in this
topics.
same place for like 15 years though? Is that just what we're figuring out?
That's the kind of mindset this band puts you in. Yes.
Is that
So
not
shortly
monotonous?
after, in 2009,
But not great. Some
Yeah.
good stuff, but not great.
2009, the band goes on hiatus in a sense. They break up.
In another
Yeah,
sense, yeah.
Yeah, they were done with the industry and they were pursuing other ventures. So
Do we know what jobs they took, Dan?
no, I do not. I did not go that far. A lot of them released a lot of the members released music as side projects.
Oh, really?
Or,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So they come back and around COVID is when they start going back on tour again. And
They have some
everything's
time on
looking
their
good.
hands. Yeah.
They're well, no, they tried to do it before COVID.
Oh, I
COVID shut
see.
it down, but this allowed the band to, be together more often, play around. They recorded another album. The Rain Museum came out in 2022, this year, in August. So
Yeah, it's back on Equal Vision Records.
yes, so I listened to the first song off the album, the first quote unquote single, and nobody does singles anymore. How Far Apart. I thought it was after having not heard anything new from Armor for Sleep, and
Yeah, a band that was
However
no
many
more.
years,
And
yeah.
now they're suddenly a band again.
I enjoyed that song. It was catchy. It kind of made me feel the feels again. But then once I bought I didn't buy the album. I listened to it on Spotify. It just didn't really do anything for me. There wasn't anything standing out. It was kind of simple. They were there. They were physically
Yeah.
there, kind of like naming a beer IPA.
Armor for Sleep isn't a band that I had listened to very recently, so it was nice to kind of go through and hear it again. And seeing that 15-year discrepancy between albums, I was like, this album is going to be great. These guys are going to continue to mature. They're going to write some really deep music. They have something they want to share with the world. And I think I built it up a lot with what I thought I was about to get out of this album compared to what I think we're getting out of it. It
Yeah.
seems like they kind of regressed from what their music was. It's like
Definitely.
they're not.
Well, I
they're-
think they
they're
had all
unpracticed.
they
it
had
feels
all
like.
gone their own ways and
Yeah.
started writing different kinds of music, and then came back. And Ben Jurgensen, the main songwriter, he's got it's not a different style, but
Yeah, to me, it just feels like they're unpracticed. It seems like it's almost the same type of style, right? Like that kind of direct, not a whole lot of illusion, but it's the things they're talking about. I was like, oh, this isn't. There's not a whole lot going on to these lyrics. There's a lot of repetition more than they used
Well,
yeah.
to that, I mean, the first song out of the gate, The Rain Museum, did knock me off my feet.
No.
So for me, that's a minus. If you're going for that long, really come out of the
Yeah,
gate.
no lyrics. It was
Really come out
instrumental.
of the gate hard. And if you said How Far Apart is the single,
That was the first song I heard.
nothing groundbreaking, but I think they really did come into a groove here. See You on the Other Side, World Burden Down, In This Nightmare Together is a nice stretch of good stuff. But then New Rainbows, for me, kind of killed it.
Yeah.
The New Rainbow
Yeah.
vibe was not connecting with me at all. I was more into the killing yourself in a car, being a ghost, singing through floorboards, and dreaming to make believe.
Specifically by
stuff.
going underwater.
that
killing
song
yourself
came
in a car.
on while I was in the car, and I had to pause it. I was like, what am I listening to right now? I was on 76 in traffic, so I wasn't going to crash or anything. But I was completely kind of taken aback. I had to check it out. I was like, am I still listening to Armor for Sleep? Did it switch to a different band?
Right. I am exclusively on YouTube Music, so there's some fuckery that could happen. So sometimes I've went back and checked to see, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
4
overall,
records,
Pat,
that's
I think
it.
this is a great choice. I
4
think you did a
records.
job well
Yeah,
done
very,
for
very good call on the beer.
Hazy Little Things IPA by Sierra
Sierra
Nevada.
Nevada.
I think this is a contender for Armor for Sleep.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break now, and then we're going to come back with Dusty's pick for a beer that is armor for sleep.
That orange vanilla blend, you can't beat it, guys. You put it into your cakes.
Seltzer.
All right, so guys, I think we're like unanimous in the kind of beers we're trying to do here. So I see Armor for Sleep as one. They really represent their name, right? Like this is that monotonic, tonal band. They had a lot. Like it was really great at the time, and I think it really fit in. I really resonated with me when I was first listening to them, like in high school, in college. They had a great place in my rotation. But as like I've kind of grown up and look back on it, I'm like, that was great for then. Maybe it's not my favorite band anymore. I still listen to them, and I can appreciate them, and I like them. But it's not the band that I used to have the kind of attachment to. So for a beer, I was trying to find something that I was like, this beer when it first came out, I was like, this is really cool. Something that like really I think was like kind of popular, especially in like maybe smaller, like more like kind of hipster circles, even though they hate Williamsburg. So I went with Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues.
Ooh.
Another beer that's kind of named exactly what it is. It's a pale ale.
American.
Put it right
pale
into
ale.
the name.
Right up Pat's alley.
Yeah, so if you guys are unfamiliar with Dale's Pale Ale, I think this has been around for a little while now. It is definitely has like a really strong flavor, and I think this like kind of like really speaks to like that kind of like emo vibe, right? Where it's like this was like a really kind of intense, specific type of music. This had a lot of this when this first came out. Like this was very kind of specific, and I think it was like kind of unique at the time. But over time, like I'm going back to it, I'm like, this isn't my favorite beer anymore. But I used to really like it. Thought it was really cool.
Kind of tastes orange and vanilla to me. Oh wait, that was my seltzer still stuck in my mouth as a palate cleanser. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm getting like a lot of caramel out of it. You know, I think when I really first had this, I had a lot of. It was like even almost like it was like almost had like that bitter beer taste. I think it's been refined over time. Sort of the same way I was like, this might not have the same recipe that it used to have to me, right? Like it has a different taste. You know, it's not one of those like small batches, of course, but
To me,
That's
it's
the way
just
I'm
an
thinking.
American beer made by an American brewer. It tastes just like an American beer.
if you guys are unfamiliar with the Dale's Pale Ale, it's red, white, and blue on that can. It is it's a beautiful thing. And it's a great brewery.
Yeah, this is one
Oscar
of those
Blues.
things when you're young and in high school, and all you want to do is just get fucking drunk, and no one will let you.
Yeah.
Like, beer tastes disgusting, but you know it'll get you drunk.
Yeah, you
so
need
just
it.
start
Are you saying Dale's Pale Ale
drinking as much
tastes
as you
disgusting?
can. No, because when you become older, you get to, if you do, when you learn to appreciate beer.
Yeah, when you have a little more fiscal, a little jingle in your
Yeah,
pocket.
when you got some spare change, you can waste on
Mhm.
beers. You drink it, it just fills up your mouth, and that taste that used to be disgust when you were younger, you start to appreciate the way it hits your tongue and fills up your
Yeah.
mouth, and the way it swallows, and then what's going on in your mouth after it's gone. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful pale ale. You know, it's not like a beer I drink all the time anymore. You know, when I get pale ales, I try to get like a little bit more of a hop forward. You know, like that like big taste. Like this is a little bit more mellow. Has that caramel, has the bitterness.
I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you. This reminds me of going to like the Barbary for like an MMP night.
That's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah, and these are $1 each, and similar to a PBR would be $1. $1
That's
in,
right. Yeah.
and
$1 a shot.
yeah, and
That's
at
that's a special.
the morning after, I got the shits because of all the beer that I drank that was unholy, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the first taste that I get out of drinking the Dale's Pale Ale just kind of takes me back to a time where I was reckless and enjoying a good night, but I knew I was going to pay the price the next day.
You know, it's funny, like getting this at the Barbary. You know where I got these today? Wegmans.
Ooh.
Hey, look at that.
Oh man,
Man.
It was right next. It's close to my new office. Oh guys, woo!
I'm
I'm excited to go
I'm-
there all the time.
I'm jealous. I wish I could shop at Wegmans.
Wegmans. I got kicked out of a Wegmans once because we were you can buy a beer there and drink it on site.
Right.
That's right.
And we got flat. We went there for a friend of ours going away party. We all dressed up like it was the prom,
Okay.
and we all just
Nothing yet.
We bought a whole bunch of beer.
That's fine.
And continued to drink it.
Right.
And then when we were done out of beer, we went and tried to buy more and sit back down and drink some more. And the Wegmans folks said, "It's time to go, guys. This isn't a bar. This is
Good for them.
Yeah.
actually.
They put up with your nonsense for the
Rightfully
appropriate
so.
amount of time.
Yeah,
But
the first time I was ever at a Wegmans, it was on your invite to get Dirt Wolf. You loved this beer so much by
yeah.
Victory that we
It's
had to
good.
go to a Wegmans, and
That's
you
right.
said I drank it outside.
And you can drink it outside. Yeah,
That's
it was
exactly
amazing.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah, Dale's Pale Ale. Am I the one that always complains about beers? I don't. On this podcast so far, I apologize if I do. But
You're the one that complains about everything. On
yeah, I
this
know I
podcast.
do. Sorry. This one,
You have the most beer opinions
yes.
on the show.
This is giving me
I might have the most band opinions.
yes. I'm not saying
I'm
this.
just here for the ride.
I'm not
like-
saying this is giving me
I like
a
hanging
bad.
out with you guys.
Yeah, this isn't a bad taste in my mouth, but it's like a, hey, remember your younger, time period when you were drinking multiple cans.
That's
of,
what I was talking. That's,
Yes.
That's what I was.
Right,
This
so I
is
guess-
specifically
all right,
trying
and
to.
then it ties into armor for all right.
My
wait,
beer
I
test.
just all right.
My hypothesis. Here.
Look, it all makes sense now. All right,
I'm
I get it.
not a hops guy.
Yeah.
I like to taste the beer more than I like to taste the hoppiness of the beer. So this pale ale is more up my alley.
You know,
Is
it's,
it because it's American?
It's American as shit.
Well, I
but
mean, that's what it's called. It's an American pale ale.
you know, it's so
does that
hip
sway your opinion?
and different too. Like when my first 30 rack I bought of it comes in a flat like piece of cardboard. So you're walking around with it like a giant pizza box. You guys know what I'm talking about. So it was, I at the time I wasn't driving, so I tried to carry this home from the distributor, and it started bending and breaking in pieces. So I was having a terrible time trying to get this home, and I was trying to get all this cool beer back to my apartment.
I'm reminded of the time that we took a trip down to Washington, D.C. to watch the Phillies play the Nationals.
Oh yeah.
And you guys went to the local beer dispensary, this distributor, whatever the hell they call it. And you got like a...
Came back with a natty caddy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Natty Caddy.
how many
was
was
that? Like a
that?
90 pack?
60
A
or
90
90?
pack in a
And it came with like a
trolley.
trolley, yeah. And that's why you guys bought it. You're like,
Dolly.
look, it came with this trolley. Like, this
A
is
dolly,
perfect.
yeah, like
dolly,
a loading
thank you.
dolly, yeah.
Yeah. So that just reminded me. I had a
What about
flashback
the
for a second.
time we went to the Trocadero and saw Armor for Sleep?
There you go. Did that happen?
Didn't we?
Did we?
Did we?
Here's the
This
thing.
is when I have to ask Dan.
All right. I've seen Armor for Sleep.
I've seen Armor for Sleep,
Yeah.
Then
And
I've
it-
had to see it.
and it was with you guys.
Okay.
I'm positive of that.
I
much.
have seen Armor for Sleep multiple times. I kept all my tickets from way back in the day, and I came
Okay.
across a couple of Armor for Sleep. They were also the opening band a couple of times, so I wasn't good at writing down who the opening bands were sometimes. So sometimes my tickets are just for the headliner. So there's a good chance we all saw Armor for Sleep together, but I don't remember specifically when that was.
It's absolutely. Tell your first time. When did you first see him?
All right, first time that I saw Armor for Sleep would be 2003 Skate and Surf Fest in Asbury Park, New Jersey.
They only played the first album, I'm guessing.
That's right. It was that album was fresh. They were completely new on the scene, but everybody at Skate and Surf Fest were talking about them. It was you had to be at the stage that they were going to be playing at whatever specific time it was.
Yeah.
So we were excited to see them. I went to all 3 days of Skate and Surf Fest that year. That was back when I could stand still for 8 to 10 hours a day, and my back didn't hurt the next day. I don't want to talk about back pain.
What was the Hurricane show? Didn't you go to the Hurricane show?
I specifically didn't
That
go to the Hurricane
is
show.
another sore subject that I could talk. We had tickets to see Armor for Sleep, and it was during a hurricane in the Philadelphia area.
We don't get hurricanes at all.
We don't that often. It ended up being a lot of rain, a little bit of wind. Power was still good.
It turned out to be more fun than
Yes.
disastrous.
I think at this time I was in college. I think you guys were still in high school at that point.
Yeah, I think that's about right. It had to be like 11th grade. For
I
us.
couldn't remember. Were you both supposed to go to the show, or was it just it was Dusty and Johnny D?
Yeah.
Johnny D was supposed to go.
Johnny DiMattia.
Yeah.
Shouts out.
And so we go to pick you guys up, and you're at the Interborough High School, the football field, playing mud football. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
were,
guys
we, were-
call
we
it?
were playing football. We were all drenched and covered in mud.
Yeah, I'm with my buddy Dave Kern.
Yeah.
We're excited to see Armor for Sleep. You know, we're gonna drive through this hurricane. You know, we got tickets. We paid good money at that time. At that time, you don't have a lot of expendable income, so it's like
12 hard-earned dollars.
that's right. I was working at probably CVS at the time, so I didn't make that much money.
I was
so
working at the bowling.
I
I'm gonna
was
have to
excited to see Armor for Sleep.
Mortgage my
I
house.
go to
see Taylor
find you
Swift this
guys
year.
to go to the show, and you're out playing football in the mud, and I was very
He
disappointed.
was having fun.
He was,
that
but at the time,
was a great,
I was
great football game.
I was a college guy. You were a high school guy, so I was like, I didn't.
You know, we didn't get to play pickup football very often anymore. We kind of grew out of that. So I was having so much fun. I probably having seen Armor for Sleep probably somewhat recently. I was like, I'm good. I'm having so much fun. This is a hurricane.
Yeah, so
I has
that's
to
one of
be,
my
yeah.
all-time favorite stories that I like to tell is the fact that
Wasn't the
I
was
drove through a hurricane to see Armor for Sleep. Was it also? What? I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, was it at the church?
I think it was at the church.
Yeah, because it
Was it also
wasn't
this
it
day
flooded
forward?
in there?
Was it
or
this
no?
day forward's last show, or is that, or am I
No,
mixing that up?
I
with
think
something
you're
else?
mixing out because I
Okay.
don't think I would have skipped that.
It was either at the church or it was at the Trocadero. I forget which one it was.
I
I
belie-
might have to consult Kern after the show,
Yeah.
see if he remembers. But
So
Yeah.
apparently, Armor for Sleep was just at the Mann Center in August
Oh really? Oh, for the new album, I
for the new
suppose, yeah.
album.
yes,
And then
I think it was
Man.
part of the Sad Summer show or something.
The sad summer.
Armor for Sleep in Philadelphia on 9/19/2015. Could that have been us?
No,
No,
it would have been 2004, 2005.
2003,
Yeah,
No.
2004.
No. Because I'm thinking it had to be, they were touring the third record.
no, they were
No,
not touring
no.
the third
I
record.
bet you this was.
You guys
fall,
were still in high school.
This is fall 2004
In
because it still had to be
2005, the
hurricane.
second record came out.
Okay, so it was after the first album then that I was going to see the Armor for Sleep. Maybe it was after the second album.
No, it
Maybe
has
you
I'm
to-
were-
talking about the show we all went together.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
know
talking about the
it.
hurricane game. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still stuck on the hurricane game.
We talked about the hurricane game 15 minutes ago. What are you guys talking about?
This is something that I will take to the grave with me. The
It's
fact
probably
that
fall
I drove,
2004
I
hurricane.
drove through a hurricane to see.
So I'm
Armor
thinking
for
we
Sleep.
went to see Armor for Sleep before we went to New York while they were touring the third record.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were a little disappointed that like they sounded not good
Right. Yeah.
because they were having audio equipment like
Gotcha.
totally like shit out on them.
Anytime
And they
I-
were like apologetic because they thought, oh, like this is our fault because our equipment's not good. And that wasn't it. They would play a new song and the crowd would just die. And then they would play an older song and the crowd would come alive. And they'd be like, man, it's like we're up here shooting 50%. Like, it seems like we got you guys some of the time, and then other times, like, the equipment's not. And I'm just like, you're just not playing the right songs, guy. Let me come up with your set list, guys. I will come up with an amazing set list. I win the playlist game every freaking podcast.
all of the shows kind of run together for me. So,
Yeah.
Well, I only saw them once, so it sticks out.
yeah. Well, every show I've ever gone to runs together. So I'm not bragging about that. It's just my memory's horrible, and I didn't write anything down ever.
Well, so let's, speaking of that, guys, let's, have a little bit of our happy hour songs on draft. Let's see if Pat wins once again, or at least let's see if he's happy with
Should
his
we
draft.
just do like everybody gets one or two songs?
Yeah, because I mean, I could pick a third song because they have more than 6 or 9, but
All right, so I get first pick because it was my band. Or no, I'm gonna give Pat the first pick. Let's go.
I got the first pick last time. I'll give
Oh, you
Dusty the
did?
first pick.
All right, Dusty gets first. Look at we're friends. Look at
Yeah,
us.
this
We're
is
just
great.
handing it to each
And
other.
because I did not win the lady singers from last week. You did. And
Yeah.
you gave it to me, so I feel guilty taking it twice.
All right, Dusty, with the first pick
Yeah, I'm gonna go with My Town. I like the song a lot. I want those
Great
sidewalks
song.
to lend their backs to my feet, guys.
Man.
So I'm gonna go with My Town.
All right, Pat, what do you got?
Car Underwater.
Car Underwater. You. That seems to be your album.
I mean,
What
a
to do when
car
you're dead.
underwater with time to kill. It's just, it's perfect
It is.
for me.
Dream to Make Believe. That's the first song I heard from Armor for Sleep, and that is my favorite song of theirs all time. I've covered it in my band. I love that song.
All right, we'll go for your second song here, Dan.
All right, my second song. I'm still sticking with that first album, Dream to Make Believe. Wanderers Guild. Love it.
Wanderers Guild. That's all really the only lyric I remember.
All right, Pat, what do you got?
Frost and Front Steps for me. Because
Yeah, that would have been one of mine.
I got Car Underwater from the second album. I want to go to the first one. And
All right.
being
so
cold and being ignored, it's a great.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's true.
Re-listening to this, I think this one really appealed to me a lot, and this is Phantoms Now. I really like how that song goes. This is like a personal favorite of mine.
Nice.
Are we gonna go 3?
I think it's time for us to pick our favorite beer.
Yeah, I think Well, let's go back and
We've been reminiscing a lot
yeah,
during
this
this
has been
episode.
a lot of reminiscing,
Yeah.
which is funny for a band that we didn't have like a ton of.
Not as many albums to talk about
love
as some
for
of the
and
other
everything, yeah.
bands we talked about so far, but we have a lot of memories tied to Armor for Sleep.
So to recap our
Just
draft
to establish my
really quick.
dominance, I would probably pick Basement Ghost Singing to be my third, but whatever.
Okay. He was ready to go.
What if I picked that third, Pat? Yeah.
Damn it!
So for me, I had.
I would
My
have countered
Town
with
and-
Smile for the Camera because that's a great take on
for
the
me, I-
news
for
and the
me-
media.
I
Me and Kanye have a lot of similar opinions on this.
We're gonna have to issue a redaction on this
Redact that,
episode.
redact that.
Redacted.
I disavow.
Great. So I went with My Town and Phantoms Now, and I think that's. I was gonna stick to that album the whole time, as much as I could. Pat went with Car Underwater and Frost and Front Steps. I love Frost and Front Steps. That's a great song too.
Great song.
Great song.
Dan, Dreams to Make Believe, and Wanderers Guild, also sticking to that first album.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a great little combo you got there as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we all did pretty good there. I think we probably nailed all their best songs.
Yes. The first album.
It's a tight top 6.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, like, what do you think, guys? Like, let's start voting on these beers. Dan, I think you go last. So,
Yes, sir.
Pat, you want to go first? What do you think is the beer that most epitomizes Armor for Sleep?
It's an interesting question, and I'm struggling with it. I've been thinking about it for the last 10 minutes or so, and if I could, I'd call it a dead even.
I think we all nailed it, guys. I'm proud of both
Yeah,
of you.
this is. I'm especially happy this episode. Oh man, breaks my heart. Because the double nickels was good, and I'd like to give them a lot of love on this one. But this goddamn Dale's Pale Ale came in and just fucking knocked my socks off. Dale's Pale Ale.
Yeah. I love you. For me, I think we all did a great job too. This is probably the hardest one.
Hardest one, I think.
Yeah, I've ever had to pick. We were all on the same notes, right? I think we figured out who this band is.
Simpatico over here.
I'm with you, Pat. I think it's a hard choice between them, and I want to. I love where you're going with Sierra Nevada. You're kind of taking a twist off like a classic. Dan, you're going off that double nickel, that classic kind of taste. I'm gonna have to go with double nickel. I think I'm going with double nickel. I really love the taste. So this is like one where like the beer puts it over slightly for me, which is when I try to go for that hypothesis. I think we were all on top of it.
So I can't vote for my own beer.
You can't.
right.
Yeah.
And I hate Dale's Pale Ale. So I think this week's a draw. Sierra Nevada.
We're all right.
We're all right.
Finally,
guys.
guys. Oh, this feels great.
Nope. Pause it. Get Nicole.
Get Nicole.
Yeah, let's
Tiebreaker.
get Nicole. So we brought in a tiebreaker.
Only the strong survive
We
in
brought
abandoned
in
beers.
Dusty's wife, my former roommate, Nicole, in to taste all 3 beers. And provide us with a tiebreaker as to who has the best. I guess it's the best tasting beer now at this point. I assume you do not have any connection to Armor for Sleep whatsoever. So what's the best
Nicole has all the information available to
Yes,
her that we
to
can
her.
give to her at this point.
within the last 2
She's
minutes?
she's
So
going to be our tiebreaker.
what is the best beer?
Everybody has
Nicole?
one vote apiece. The deciding vote.
Best
Don't-
beer and
don't look
for
at Dusty
your
while you're
connection-
saying it.
Your connection to Arbor to Sleep, like which one do you think is Armor for Sleep?
This will define which beer Armor for Sleep is.
Forever to all mankind.
To be quite honest, guys, when I think about 2003, I think about chugging beer, like, and just huge. What were those things called? Beer,
Oh, those things.
the funnels,
The towers.
Oh, towers, but also the funnels.
The beer
Yeah,
font,
funnel
yeah.
beer.
Yeah, I specifically remember being at the shore. I remember this music. I remember falling asleep to this music. I don't know it very well.
Oh, look at you.
It's
There's
gonna
your
have
way
to
on
be the
task,
Dale's
guys.
Pale Ale, guys.
Dale's
Whoa!
Yeah.
It's literally almost tasteless.
Conspiracy.
The double nickel had a little bit too much of a bougie bitterness on the finish, which I found to be a little bit more refined, a little bit too refined in my taste for Armor for Sleep. And the Sierra Nevada Delicious Beer,
Not trashy enough, right?
not trashy enough. These two, the double nickel and the Sierra Nevada, are just too good.
It was missing that.
You need
Sorry.
the Dale's Pale. You need that chuggable.
Fair.
Like you're at the Warp Tour, you're falling asleep in a hotel room in Atlantic City with all your
Or
friends.
Asbury Park.
Senior week.
I did that once when I saw
Yeah.
Armor. We weren't in a hotel room, but we tried to. Amazing. Thank you, Nicole.
Wow.
Been a pleasure.
Tiebreaker, Nicole brought it. Dale's Pale Ale
From the
is Armor
Os-
for Sleep.
Osaka Blues Brewing.
Oscar Blues.
Nicole, do you know how to Terminator clap?
No?
Whoa. What's going to be our next band?
Oh, yeah.
It's
I guess
Pat's
we should
turn.
probably. Dude, I'm so sick of this emo, punk rock, girl band bullshit. I want
Excuse me.
a band that's
They were not girls.
heavy as heck, you guys. System of a Down.
System of a
Oh,
Down.
they come to
Oh,
town. Can't
toxicity.
wait.
The toxicity of our city.
Of our city.
Nicole, lead us in a Terminator clap. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
Abandoned beers.
Abandoned Beers.
A band of beers.
A pair of beers.